Joe and Hunter Biden are in trouble over their potential dodgy dealings in Ukraine and China. CNN slowly withdraw their support from the Biden family, and President Zelensky goes woke and green. Welcome to Disrupt. Hello, beautiful people. Happy Thursdays. I still think we've already gone to April. It's still March. It's been the longest March. No thanks to Joe Biden every half an hour opening his mouth, causing trouble, and thinking that it's another day and we're going to go towards actual peace. No. Joe Biden is not helping the situation. Even CNN, are sick and tired of this nonsense and this circus. They are finally talking about Hunter and his laptop. It's fascinating how they kept telling us it's been years now, such a long time, that if anybody mentioned Hunter, including Trump when he was mentioning Hunter, like, no, there's nothing going on. It's actually smoke without fire. Now they've changed the tune, and the analysis that we have is that probably because they've realized Team Biden is now going down, so it's time to jump ships. Watch this.
Well, Brianna, this is a very real, very substantial investigation of potentially serious federal crimes. We are seeing federal prosecutors in Delaware do exactly what you would expect to see.
Oh, so you always expect them to do that. How come you didn't talk about it before?
Expect to see federal prosecutors do in this situation. They're talking to witnesses, they're bringing people into the grand jury, they're issuing subpoenas, and I would expect, as Evan reported, they're now gaining steam, and they need to make a decision, I think, in the at least intermediate future. This case has been going on for 4 years, and there is a realistic chance this could result in federal charges.
To be fair, the issue is not even him, because he has been saying it's CNN not broadcasting these sort of comments. That's the problem they have. But now they've realized times are different now. We are going to get caught, and we're already losing our viewership. So try and pretend to be on top of it. So it's not just Fox News or Daily Wire or the other guys actually talking about it. It's time to tell the truth. It gets worse. They've been talking about it now non-stop over the last couple of days. Watch this.
How significant is this, John?
Well, look, it seems pretty clear that Hunter Biden was trading on his father's name to make a lot of money.
So, what was that again? Could you just repeat that?
It seems pretty clear that Hunter Biden was trading on his father's name to make a lot of money.
Oh, well, that's sorted then. That's clear. Nobody knew. I'm so shocked. I tell you. You're making my show redundant. We created Disrupt to disrupt your narrative. Now you're copy and pasting what we've been saying. You're finally following what channels like this have been trying to say for such a long time. And of course, it's not just this channel. There's so many other channels in America have been doing, especially when it comes to American politics. Our focus is mainly British politics. But because of course, Ukraine brief, all this is linked. Everything is linked. Whether the potential dodgy dealings in Ukraine or the CCP in China, everything goes back to why this was allowed to happen for such a long time. For example, the Fox News talked about these things back in 2020, October 2020. You had Hunter Biden's former business partner going on TV and talking about these sort of things. Nobody cared.
And in that document, they referenced loaning $5 million to the BD family.
Right.
The BD family is the Biden family. And notice they didn't say we're loaning that money to Oneida Holdings, or we're loaning that money to Tony Bobolinsky, or we're loaning that money to James Gilliar or Rob Walker. They, once again, not a document generated by me, a document generated by CFC, that they're loaning that money to the Biden family.
That's the thing. Any links between the CCP funding, the Biden family, or all the stuff that's been hidden, what happened exactly with Hunter around Ukraine, around China, and all these other, we still don't really know in terms of the legality because it's been completely shut down. But I think now the liberal side, the Democrats and CNN, the view is that they might be potentially jumping ships. They realize, well, the Team Biden is now basically towards the end of it, so we have to either, some of them may be wanting to bring up Kamala Harris, or maybe some of them are already believing that even Kamala is not good enough, so let's find someone else. That's why I talked to let's go to the political editor of the channel firstly, Peter Barnes, because this is actually a very, very good point about why CNN are withdrawing their support. Peter, what's happening? Because CNN until now, and the general liberal Democrat side in America and here, for years, for the past few years, have been avoiding talking about Hunter Biden's laptop. They say that doesn't even exist. Now there's a trend of the last few days that they keep talking about it. Do you think this is basically because they are now done protecting Biden and they're probably moving on to the better things, whether it's Kamala or something else? Why are they talking about Hunter now?
Well, this is quite an interesting story, this, because not so long ago, to even mention the laptop, we basically got you booted from Twitter. You know, you were a right-wing conspiracy with a conspiracist with a tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
And now it's back on CNN. Like, suddenly it's a real thing. I mean, the New York Post has followed this story intently, and I actually think it's down to them as to why it's back in the media. You know, they have to take some credit on that. But yeah, it is interesting how CNN have kind of dumped Biden. He's not really seen as a vote winner anymore. And more importantly, they're not really backing Kamala as much as you would have thought. I think they kind of see that she's not that great either. I mean, she supposedly went down to the southern border. She missed it by about 200 miles, apparently. She supposed to go to Thailand or somewhere like that to kind of boost, America's prospects in that region. Complete non-entity. Nothing really came from it. She's nowhere on Ukraine. I mean, she cackles like a possessed hyena. She's not exactly somebody that is inspiring. And I think the CNN and the Democrats in general have kind of come to this conclusion that they're going to need something and somebody new. And more importantly, they're going to need them pretty quick. Yeah. Obviously, in US politics, it's very different to our politics, where a literal non-entity can suddenly become president. I mean, look at Trump, for example. But the Democrats tend to like establishment figures, and there's not really many people. We're looking at the American scene right now that I can really think and point to saying like they're a real contender. The Republicans at the minute, I kind of think, are spoiled for for people. But when with the laptop, it's a fascinating story, and it talks about the kind of link between the Democrats and the CNN and the mainstream liberal media, and more importantly, and big tech as well. Twitter did a really good job during the last few weeks of the election about censoring any conversation about the laptop.
Well, thank you, our political editor, Peter Barnes. And this all, again, as I said, is linked to everything else being hidden by the media, the bias that we're getting, especially when it comes to the Ukraine brief and all this stuff that we talk about regularly on this channel. As I always say, we get propaganda during conflicts from all sides. In this case, you've got the Kremlin propaganda, you've got the obviously Zelensky propaganda, NATO propaganda, and now you have your CCP propaganda, because apparently, they're just staying out of it. They're not involved at all. They're not looking for their own interests. Chinese Communist Party. No. Everything's fine. Joe Biden, for example, you send Joe Biden to Europe, and America and the European Union have decided to reach this new deal on data privacy, which means any issue in the name of national and international security that's been signed between the current White House and the EU, don't trust it, because it's all about control. They say data privacy, and they talk about cybersecurity and all this stuff. It's all about control. Do you really trust these idiots to keep you safe? Have they done a good job so far over the last couple of decades? We've had the streets of our capitals and like places like London is not safe. And not just because of the gangsters or what, the complete international security that is being undermined in the West. And you wonder why people have no faith in the system. And you wonder why. There's another thing before we finish. This guy, Zelensky, all the issues, all the priorities they should be focusing on, he's gone woke and green. I mean, he was always woke and green, but he's making videos just to be sure that people know that his message is, Europe and the world move away from Putin's gas. We should, don't be dependent on that. I'm with you, fine. But what's the solution? His solution is listen to Klaus Schwab and go green. That's the only way you can fix it. Really? Like in countries like the UK, can you really just fully be dependent on wind? And even solar and things like that, it's not reliable. I'm going to show you this clip of the nonsense that Zelensky is spreading on TV.
Що людство має скорочувати використання викопного палива. Ера вугілля, нафти нанесли навколишньому середовищу, нашій планеті в цілому дуже серйозні шкоди. Зелені технології, зелена енергетика стали логічною і справедливою відповіддю на цей виклик. Європейська політика вже направлена на скорочення споживання екологічно небезпечних.
Yeah, this is what we're dealing with. Because the message wasn't necessarily move away from the Russia dependency because of Kremlin. It was to say, well, no, generally speaking, we should be reducing all this to go green because, and the only logical solution is just pure green renewable. They don't believe in diversifying actual options. I've got no problem with having, in terms of private enterprise, options. Have your wind, have your solar, hydrogen, have also nuclear. That's also the greenest form. They don't talk about nuclear. No, they're not talking about that. That's the problem. Luckily, whilst people like Zelensky and going with Klaus Schwab lot are trying to push for this sort of nonsense, some countries in the West, like the UK, we have pushed our British government successfully, and it's not fully there yet. We just need to continue fighting for it. But we are now getting good signs that the UK are not following that agenda fully. Because Boris Johnson is now preparing for fracking. Boris Johnson is now preparing for small nuclear reactors around the country. Good. That's how you do it. Don't just be a puppet. Finally, again, it's just been an announcement. The plans are in place. It's not there yet. It hasn't been implemented. So we always say, we believe it when we see it. Keep pushing. But this is a good start. That it's not been a complete puppet on this issue. Because that was the fear. That, because of people like Zelensky and Klaus Schwab and going to get Joe Biden and Justin Trudeau and all these others, the liberal globalists, everybody's going to be following the same method. If we could break the trend, some countries, whether it's France after Macron, hopefully, and in this country with the UK government and some other Western allies, if you break the trend, then there is hope that we could at least pause or postpone this agenda that's going on around the world. It's a very tricky situation, but of course, we have to be optimistic, but not delusional. The fight is still going on. Don't give up, because we are here to keep campaigning for common sense and for people power, which apparently used to be a left-wing liberal thing, but now it is the conservative side that believes in people power. Thanks, guys, for watching. Thanks for all the feedback on Disrupt at 6 p.m. every 6 p.m. every day, 6 p.m. where we're having this Ukraine brief. The narrative of the mainstream media is being disrupted by this show, and I've been getting so many messages from friends and, of course, people I know from other outlets, certain radio stations and the TV channels, who they say that they are reading your comments. They are watching these shows and reading your comments. So definitely keep leaving your feedbacks in the comment section, because they know that you guys are the silent majority and we are the media. Thanks again for watching. I'm Mighty. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Is another episode of Disrupt at 6 p.m.